Hello everyone, thanks to the power of the internet, I get to talk with you all, and one thing I've been doing online, and especially during my locals, is helping people upgrade their master deck sets of Lianorn and Drajeweled. Let me scroll up. The reason I have the JP site is because you can actually see all the cool stuff and the deck log that they provide. For some reason, the English version doesn't have that. But I recently was helping a new Drajeweled player, an actual new player to the game, and just some of my friends with Lianorn. So I thought I'd just make this video to help those people or anyone picking up these deck sets, because honestly, these are really good. They give you good quality sleeves. Like, this deck basically gives you all the pieces you need outside of the stuff that come in set 8 and the new Vanguards that they'll eventually get later down the line. And especially this Lianorn deck, you can just buy this and win a game. Like, it gives you the OG ride line. It's not the best ride line, but, it manages. It's okay. The grade 2 can see some niche play in the ride line. Unison Dress is super strong. Renaissance Dragon, super good restander. The Broccoli is a good draw engine. Duke Boy is another one just to find your unison dresses, which is one of the main issues of Lianorn, is you just don't see what is essentially your grade 4. Hey, you got Dragon, draw a bunch of cards, 15k booster. You got both the grade 1s that were originally at one time promos, and God, are these just incredibly good cards? I don't think you need both in the deck. That's a little bit overkill. But they're definitely great inclusions, especially for Unison Dress. We have Fairy. To those of you who don't know Fairy, it's early game aggression for plant tokens. That's cool. And once you're in Unison, or your opponent's grade 3 more specifically, you choose one of your back row, and it gains that much power. So, just a bunch of 15k boosters, and you can boost this thing again. So it's basically getting 30k for free, already being an 8k. So that's 38, a very annoying number. It's a grade 1 that comes out of nowhere. Just so many attacks. And then, of course, it gives you a full playset of PGs. And honestly, Elementary, great pickup. Bless Favor. This trigger lineup isn't the best, but at least gives you everything. And it is smart enough to know that front triggers are the least important. So they only give you 3, because if they don't have an effect, no one's going to touch them. And then, of course, it also gives you a new regalia specifically tied to this Master deck set, Sound of Wave. It's basically the, twin cast, but slightly different. They both average around getting rid of 2,500, 25,000 worth of attack, which is pretty good. So I have moved this deck over to deck log for you to see, and you are going to be surprised by the things I tell you to cut. So once again, Renaissance Dragon is gone. It's an 18k booster, and at the end of the battle this unit attacks, you got Lianorn. This boosted 5 or more times, so Unison, Counterblast 1, put it to Soul, stand one of your rear guards. It's just incredibly nice to extend your attacks further, but sadly, it kicks the bucket. Now, the next cards are up to more of a user discretion, because honestly, Unison Dress can survive off of just having Vivance and your Duke Boy. You can survive with the amount of grade 2s and 3s. That's it. That can be your whole package. If you really want to include more things, or should I say an order build, you don't really need Luster Impact or Friendly Broccoli. So in this example, we're just going to get rid of them. They will come back in a later edition. And then you're left with basically your triggers, your regalia, and the promos. Now, I was talking about you don't need both of the promos, and I really do attest to that. It all depending on what you're asking for in your deck. for the order one I'm about to show you, I don't really need counter charge, because the only thing really using counter blast would be Largrace, Juju boy. On place, CB, get Lianorn. So we're just going to remove her. And you don't always need 4 of this, but just having 4 of, because it just comes in the deck, isn't too bad. What does she do? Placed other than during battle, if you have 1 card with Unison, from your hand, reveal it, or if your Vanguard's just in it, Soul Blast 1, choose a card from your drop with a different card name than her, call it a rear. She's a revival specialist. And then, hey, guess what? At the beginning of your main phase, if you're in Unison Dress, you can just put her into Soul. So if you need to A, make more room for your field, throw her in Soul. Hey, if you have another one of those, she just technically paid for her own cost. One thing, definitely in Lianorn builds, I think this will be applied to both. We're just going to fix up the trigger ratio. We're going to say goodbye to draws, and we're going to say goodbye to those fronts specifically. Now, knowing me, I like to be a little bit different. I know for a fact that Lianorn sometimes has a shield issue, so I like to run 4 front triggers. Now, because you have a restanding Vanguard and other things, you're going to just add 3 triggers. It doesn't have to be the effect one. I'm just throwing it in because I like the aesthetic it matches. And that basically fixes the trigger ratio for all the decks that, both variants I'm about to show you. So this is really good. I enjoy this. There is, by the way, this is Sound of Wave. This isn't Twincast. At the time of recording, it's not on deck log. But for the purposes of this argument, we're getting rid of it. Because one of the really cool orders that you can just ditch for ride and just have always at command. Oh, that's normal unit. We're looking for normal order. Happens to be one that we recently got. I enjoyed the Fire Regalius. Fire Regalius. Because, like I said, you can discard this whenever, look at top 5 cards of your deck, get 1. I mean, that's really good. However, I can say, if you are feeling like your board is in danger, you don't have enough soul, I recommend just pivoting to Bracing Angel Ladder. It's the be-all, end-all of protection, adds you a soul. You do technically have a restanding Vanguard, so this also helps you hit slightly better numbers on the restand. And of course, draws you a card with soul. So not too bad for what the purpose is. I just have a personal preference to the Fire Regalius. But like I said, BLA, really good card. Cannot complain if you decide to pivot to that. But if you just want to keep the Regalius that comes in this deck set, you can. Sound of Wave is a phenomenal card. I feel a lot of people are underestimating it. Now, definitely for going forward in Lianorn, this one might be a bit pricey, but it definitely should always be a 4 of, and we're just going to keep it in the deck at all times. Sincerity, this thing is just a custom card made manifest for Lianorn. I'm sorry. During your ride phase, if you ditch this, reveal Lianorn either CB1, EB3, draw a card. In the fact of Lianorn, you want to do that more energy blast, because as we go back to confirm the deck, like currently, nothing uses energy, but things use soul. Like, OG Lianorn uses soul and discard a card. Revival needs a soul blast, so you don't really want to be paying that too willy-nilly. And so EB3 if you're going second. You can make an argument that if this is in your hand going first, Soul Blast 1. Unlike Magnolia, who doesn't have a soul issue at all, Lianorn can sometimes tend to do that, depending on how aggressive you're being. So, if you need to draw a card going first, yeah, you can get rid of your grade 0, no issue. Depends on which build you have. And this one doesn't quite work out, but hey, great cycler anyway. But hey, from the drop, if you have grade 3 Lianorn or Mag, your opponent's grade 3, you bought Deck This, which does help your deck out issue if you somehow get there. Hey, choose one of your rear guards, so something in the back row. It becomes base 15, and if you Persona Road, it becomes original 20 instead of 15. So just looking at that, this isn't a once per turn. If you have multiple copies of this, let's say if you have all 4, and you Persona Ride, let's do the math, 2, 4, 6, 8. So your Vanguard gets 80k out of nowhere. Rosemarium is getting 40k on boost out of nowhere. Hey, this thing could even just be the thing that you go to 20k. So it's 20k boosted by 20k. That's 40. Hey, guess what? I'm choosing my 20k booster. That's 60. Compared to what, if you don't do that, 48. It's insane. Lianorn plays so many grade 1s that just even becoming 15 is a huge deal. Because you just choose one of your boosters, because everything boosts the Vanguard at the end of the day. So that's just an automatic power boost. Going like, hey, this goes from a 15k booster, 20k if I didn't Persona Ride. Hey, if it goes to 20k, it's now a 25k booster. But the real joy is choosing your grade 1s, where the power boost is more noticeable. Why boost 8k when you can boost 15k? If it's a plant token, why boost 5k if you're going to boost 15k? Because Persona Ride off of this is just, oh my god, that's a lot. Those are big numbers, buddy. Calm down. Calm down there, buddy. But yeah, I can't understate how good picking up 4 of this is if you want to play the deck really competitively. Like, chef's kiss. What are some other cards? I'm going to turn this into a slight order build. So you can do one of 2 things. We're going to adjust the ride line real quickly, and why you can't really Scenari Soul Blast 1 in the beginning. Because if you're playing with orders, there's only one grade 1 you should play in your ride line. This has not changed at all in Stokea's history. Soul Blast 1, draw 2, choose an order, discard it. Now, if we look at our ride line, this can be good. You're already facilitating your drop, and if you put the Fire Regalia down there, you're pretty much all set. You just want to kind of just hard draw cards. And then, hey, if this is rode upon by Lianorn, Soul Blast 1, choose up to 1 grade less or more from your drop, so something you can just get rid of off of Rancor. If you didn't drop an order, you can do that. Most of the time, though, anytime you see Rancor, Black Husk, Dragon is normally the grade 2 you'll pair with it. And for this example, this is what I'm doing. I like running the Lianorn grade 2, mainly if you're just doing more of a Lianorn build with less orders, and just doing Roa grade 0, grade 1, because that gets you 1 plant token, which is enough when you have Rosemarium Fairy. Now, we do have a lot of good orders. We're going to go normal orders, and guess what? They're all based around grade 1. Some people, I can see the argument for a Garden's Treasure. You call a plant token to rear, or you retire a plant token and look at the top 3 and add a card to hand equal to or less than your Vanguard. Hey, that's really cool for consistency and for all the cards that say from place on hand. But just for Lianorn, who does a great job at a grade 1 rush game and just continuously grade 1 boost everything, is this overlooked rare in the Forest Flourishing in Silverwhite. Choose one of your rear guards and it gets 5k until end of turn for each of your grade 1 or less rear guards. I play this in Claudine, where something can suddenly get plus 25k. Now, normally, you want 2 Rosemarium Fairy in the front row. Well, those are both grade 1. Your back row might have a grade 2 or so, but that's still plus 15 or plus 20k, depending on the board state, out of nowhere. Hey, you got tokens. The best part about that is with Rosemarium Fairy, you just give it to someone in the back row and stand it. on attack again with, you know, Lianorn. So, like, honestly, if you're playing an order build, like 3 or 4 of maximum. Like I said, Garden Treasure is really good, but the one I recommend to people is one that is just always a good Stoicheia staple. This basically says it is another copy of anything you already have maxed 4 copies of, or you're just looking for a card because you have too much shield value in hand, and you don't want to call triggers to board. So that's why Mythiarch Habitat is just always solid and never really leaves the deck when you want consistency. Now you might be noticing we now have 47 cards in deck. So here, once again, if you want to play the dragon, if you want to play more broccoli here, go for it. Those are really good cards. If you have the money to do it, there's one that cannot be beat. It fights the energy, but you'll eventually gain it back. Why am I scrolling for it? I know her name. Especially that works in the order build, is Alvina. She's a 10k booster, because during your turn if you have 4 more units, but you normally should in Lianorn. Alright, so that's already good. And when placed on rear from hand, other than during the battle phase, EB3, you get an order back without Regalia, but you don't really want that one, because the fire one binds itself. But this also can get you back Silver White, or, hey, even Mythiarch. Or you just revive a grade 1 or less card from your drop and call it a rear. Don't forget, like I said, Alvina is one of the other reasons why Garden's Flower can be such a powerful, you know, order. Because Alvina will be added to hand if you find this off top 3, or you can get a plant token if you already have a beautiful field and you just need that one more unit. But also, do you know who else is on placed from hand that I didn't mention? Rosemarium Fairy. When this unit is placed on rear, actually, never mind, it calls 2 plant tokens. But hey, just seeing it off the top, that's really good. So, at the end... sorry. So, honestly, if you're just looking at this for upgrades, for, like, an order build, you're good. Like, this is a great, solid deck. But what if you don't want to play an order build? So we're going to get rid of some orders. I still think Silver White's a really good card because you're a rush deck that plays a lot of grade 1s, if you noticed. Even the ratio up here that we're barely going to touch, you're playing 21 grade 1s. Doubt it. 4 of those are your Sentinels, and 2 of them in this moment are Silver White, so -6 of 21 is still 15. That's basically half your deck because of what is available. Alright. First, we're going to adjust the ride line. So, we're going to throw the Lianorn one back in the ride line, because it's just a good revive one, and you don't really need to call them on plant tokens, because the other one we are playing is Roawa. Because when it's just ridden upon Bioroid Youth Roawa, you call up to 1 plant token to your back row. So this is now what the ride line becomes. And don't worry, if you flipped Roawa, a lot of people will assume Lianorn. But don't forget, there is a lot of other Stoicheia decks that will just play this ride line, because there are only like 2 playable ride lines if you want to generically play Stoicheia. It's this and Rancor Chain, which, as you saw, were both variants of Lianorn that I showed you. Alright, so main deck, what we're looking at, once again, I fully support, but hey, guess what? We're now you can keep Alvina. Alvina's a great card. The one we're going to get rid of is actually Parasag, so goodbye. Because we want the other one. We want some counter charge. So let's look over Allentis. If you just have Lianorn, so your first grade 3 turn is a 10k booster, But hey, it gets plus 5k if you're in Unison Dress instead, so it becomes a 13k booster. Once again, not too bad. At the end of your turn, if your Vanguard was boosted 3 or more times, so once again, your first one, or even Unison, you retire, draw. If you have no face-up, damage, you countercharge 1. So that really helps you in the early game rush. So we're just going to add 3 of those. Once again, I'm just doing this to show off some different builds because I don't think you need both of those, but they're really good anyway. Because the other one, like I said, is just a revive, was a promo that was hard to get. But if you want to just keep her in this version of the deck, go for it. I fully salute you for that. But this means we can also now play more things that say Counterblast. So we're going to look for Broccoli, which I don't remember its name off my hand, but I can actually just type in Broccoli and I'll find it. So let's just say 3 of these. Because when placed on rear from hand, you have a token unit, which you should because you're playing the row ride line. CB draw. Hey, if you have a token unit, this is a 15k attacker and shield. Don't forget that stays with the intercept, or if you just hard calling this from hand. And of course, like I said, Luster Impact, just another good card, not good enough to validate more of it. So you're still playing a lot of grade 1s, as you can see, 20, which is why I still think, Silver White's a really good card. But once again, like I said, Farmer's Delight now goes incredibly more hard here, so we're actually going to do that small replacement. Oh, I'm still looking for Lianorn, I'm stupid, sorry. We're going to put 2 there. Why? Now because when you look at the top 3, if you see Broccoli or Alvina, you're actually plussing more. Because on place from hand, CB, draw a card. Energy Blast 3, hey, revive a grade 1. Oh, what could that be? How about my just draw 13k booster? How about Rosemary and Fairy, which is my biggest beater? A lot of good options. It might not be just like a plus 20, plus 25, like I said. That's up to you if you want that or Silver White. Both are really good options. But if you're starting to notice, there's just a small little core of Lianorn you can keep from the Master Deck set. Oop. Like, this small amount of cards, once again, it can be her, it can be the promo. You're already 35 cards, so you have 15 cards of just however you want to experiment, however you want to upgrade your own deck, have your own experience. There can be a mask version if you want to be more aggressive. That's really good too. I'm not going to go over that because this is just upgrading the master deck sets and how much you actually need to go out and buy. With mask, you would have to buy the mask engine, Lianorn mask. This is just that. So, once again, you can go back, look over some of the deck lists I provided. I'll share deck lists, deck codes in the description of what I made. But we're going to move on because there's still one more that needs to go over. Next up, we have a personal favorite, Drajeweled. Like, I love Drajeweled. The deck hates me, though. It hates me so much. And it makes me so sad because I love him so much. But honestly, this is a little less forgiving than the Lianorn deck set. There is a lot of room for improvement in these decks, but it does give you really good, valuable cards. Just going over what it is, you get 4 of Ignis, which is a massively great grade 4 if you live to see it. This deck really won't help you get there. We have a retire and draw based. I did not mean to click on you. Oops. Over there, we have Soul Recursion with the grade 2 promo that we never got in time in English. Imposa, I think. We have the grade 4 engine. One of these cards, the grade 2 specifically, who's a 15k booster. I think just actually boost, but soul charges 1 and can call something out of soul for the price. It just goes back in the soul at the end of turn. Really good. We have Rocknagor, not even understated, just a really good, really great multi-attacker. We got Bison. I mean, it's a good card. It has shield value and helps you get your Drajeweleds back into soul, so you don't need to pick it off top 2 of Ignis. You have the broken grade 1 that says, hey, put this into soul, turn anything into Rocknagor. We have the grade 3 from the grade 4 engine, not as good as a card. And then as before, you have a whole set of Sentinels. You might notice this Elementary is different. This is the grade 4 variant, because you're not allowed to play the other one, because you become a grade 4 or higher. So this says if your opponent has a crest other than Energy Generator, it becomes free. So it goes against Stride, Lovenberry, if you're in at JP, it goes against Mushy King, it goes against all of Token Rambu. And then as before, this one is actually on Decklog, which makes me mad. Shout and Shadow. It's a really good one if you're not playing Drajeweled. So once again, we have pulled up the deck on Decklog and go over it. This ride line, you do not touch it. It's kind of just the perfect ride line already. You could ask for a better grade too, but there's not really one that facilitates much like this one does. Just going over the ride line. Hey, did you ride the grade 2 over? Call this to rear. It's a 13k attacker, booster, whatever, that mandatory puts itself back into soul. What does the grade 2 do? If it hits a Vanguard, soul charge 1. When you rode upon, soul charge again. If your soul has 3 or more grades, you draw a card. This should just happen, because let's count them. You have a grade 0. You got a grade 1 from the ride line. You're riding over him, so you got a grade 2. That's 3 different grades. Alright, enough from me being a little sarcastic. What are the things you can cut from this deck? Well, immediately, this goes to 1. Draco Kid, when placed, CB1, look at top 7, choose your grade 4, add it to hand. If you didn't, you choose up to a grade 4 from your hand, reveal it, you draw a card. This is okay. This is alright. If you have the time or better cards, it immediately leaves the deck. Imposa. I'm glad I remembered her name. Good card. EB4 for the cost of your Vanguard. If something didn't stand, you stand this. If you stand this unit, you then at the end of turn retire it and choose a grade 2 or a greater card from your soul, and you can put it to hand. So, like, if you somehow didn't Soul Blast Ignis out, you get Ignis back to hand. You get your other grade 3 back to hand. She's good. You don't need her of a 4 of. If you are just starting out, you can either remove her entirely, keep her up at 2. It's up to you. This thing's broken. It never leaves the deck. Because like I said, when it's placed, Soul Charge 1, if you have a grade 4 from hand, reveal it, which you should, or if you are just a grade 4, like I said, choose one from your soul, different card name from this, call it a rear, put it back in the soul at the end of turn. It also gets boost. Rocknagor is in a really weird place because of, A, you need to keep it in the deck because it's one of your most iconic restanders and beater. However, because of set 8, you can more take out Rocknagor because he's now a bit too slow. Going over, Composites Freaks is once again something you can just get rid of if you need, but just going over it, it helps you survive to grade 4 because if you're Drajeweled, it just gets plus 5k shield, making it a 10k. That's really good. And then if it's in your drop, so if you Soul Blast it out, or if you've guarded with it previously, you bind it, and choose a grade 3 or greater card from your drop and put it to soul. Normally, that's your base Drajeweled or Ignis, because when it's in soul, it is considered any amount of grade. Like I said, this thing will also never leave the deck, because it just turns anything into Rocknagor. Because once you Soul Blast all 4 out, you put this in soul, you draw a card, that's already great. And then if you can choose a grade 4 from your hand, reveal it, or if you're a grade 4, hey, choose your rear guards. If it didn't already stand it. So this can also be a cheap way to restand your Rocknagors without paying cost. Of course, hey, this is a pretty good trigger lineup. How would I improve this? Well, once again, you get rid of the generic triggers that aren't crit and heal. Oops. So what are we going to put in place of that? I, once again, very much enjoy my fronts. So I say 3 or 4 of. I like more shield, so I always do 4 of. Even though you want to give your rear guard some critical pressure. I'm sorry, I clicked crit. Some of these cards are not critical triggers. Once again, I love just 4 fronts when I can do it, but technically you should be playing like all crit 3 front, but I'm letting my personal bias win. Now, Shroud in Darkness, really good Regalis piece. If you didn't ride, which you shouldn't because you're a grade 4 deck, you don't have to pay the Counterblast one. You choose 2 non-sentinel normal units with different names, some less being than your Vanguard, add them to soul from your drop. Oh, actually, sorry, call them. If you put 1 or less, then put this card into soul. There we go. So that's really good. It helps you with board consistency because you're a grade 4. You can call a grade 3 like Galar, and your most important grade 1 Varpula from drop, because you're definitely going to Soul Blast 4 him at one point or another. Really good consistency. However, we can get better than that from... This is definitely more expensive to upgrade. Definitely because of the Regalis of choice, even though some Korokoro got a reprint. You want Forbidal's Surrogate. Why? Because it searches out your grade 4 and adds it to hand. That's one of the bigger reasons. But it also calls a grade 3, one of which we have to add to deck. You want Nocturizo. Why? Because if you ditch it when you're going up to grade 3, you draw a card. More importantly, it's a 15k shield when you're just sitting on grade 4. But also, if you happen to call this, just because you can, or because of Forbidal, CB1, draw a card, already good, and then you put 2 cards from your drop into Soul. Because you Soul Blast 4 so much, and then Soul Blast 5 with Ignis, that becomes a soul-saving effect. So this goes to 4, and that ratio never changes. Once again, Drajeweled is also one of those cards that will be getting a new grade 3 eventually, so we do not know if Ignis and Nocturizo will leave the deck. I think just the grade 4 engine of Drajeweled is way too powerful not to have it, but we'll have to see. But in the meantime, if you're upgrading to play this more competitively, this is definitely a 4 of pickup. So, how many cards left do we need? We need 3 more. Well, like I said before, something came out in set 8 for both of these decks. This is Energy Rocknagor. This is Litharsusagor, however you want to pronounce it. When it's placed, if you go to Vanguard with Drajeweled, Energy Blast 3, draw. That's already super good. you play it for that, and then hey, guess what? When this attacks a grade 3 or greater unit, if your soul has 4 more different names, 10k. Hey, that's Rothnagor. Hey, if you soul blasted 4 or more for the cost of a Vanguard with Drajeweled, CB1 and stand this. Hey, that's Rothnagor. Like I said, this is energy Rothnagor, only with the cost that you now can draw off of it. So this immediately skyrockets to the 4 of Rothnagor that you were supposed to be playing in main deck, and now my conundrum. Definitely, this is an expensive card. If you don't have all of them, you're just playing max copies of Rothnagor, but basically, for every one you have here, you'll take one away from Rothnagor, but you'll never take it out of the deck entirely. So just leaving it as a 1 of is really good. Hey, if you want to leave it as a 3 of, this is a fine deck to have. Like, I have no complaints here. If you want to stop upgrading here, I get it. You can be a little cheeky, because Drajeweled does have other support. We're just going to do a quick overview on some of it. This is a new card. I haven't done a lot of testing with it, but we'll read it. When it's placed on rear, choose a grade 3 with Drajeweled from your ride deck, reveal it, or if you're a grade 3 or greater Drajeweled, CB1, look at top 7, choose up to 1 card with Demonic Stone Dragon, which we'll go over, and its card name among them, reveal it, add it to hand. If you did not put a card into hand, you soul charge 2. Now, let's look up the magic thing. Demonic Stone. Hey, that's Rothnagor. Hey, that's energy Rothnagor. So that definitely helps your consistency when you're looking at it. You also have this really old piece that you'll never see again, mainly because you choose a card from your drop, add it to soul, then it's 10k. This is bad Rothnagor. Why? Because it's a rare. So if you really wanted to, you could knock this down to 1, add 2 of these. That's not bad. And it's probably cheap because no one's thinking about it. What are some other support you might add? Well, I'm just skipping through the ones I know are bad and irrelevant. You're not playing the Mask Engine ever again. Hey, did you know Drajeweled had a countercharger? Well, you're not gonna play it. If anything, you want to add like more grade 1s. I can't remember the name of it. But if I look at... If I just type in Soul Blast 4. Let's see if it comes up. Because that's normally how you have Drajeweled support without saying Drajeweled, is if you Energy Blast, Soul Blast 4 or more. Here, let me look it up. Give me a second. Yeah, it's this guy. If you want some Keter energy going on. Oh, that's why. Because when you Soul Blast 3 or more. I'm dumb. Look at the top card of your deck. Put it on the top card of your deck or into Soul. Then it becomes a 10k booster. That's just Keter energy. You can throw that in as a cheeky like 1 or 2 of. But I'm not going to because I don't like the card. I honestly enjoy exploration of the deck more. And while, yes, Rothnagor and Energy Rothnagor are using a lot of your CB, Daimia doesn't seem like such a good card, but this one allows you to search them out more, or just Soul Charge 2, which, you know, if you're just starting out and you don't have quite the budget to upgrade things, like, you can add 2 of him, because it will help you find your, 4 of Rothnagor if you have just 1 of the new guy. So, while I will say that Lianorn core is this, if you look at Drajeweled, it's a bit different because it then, just out of the base set, has a bunch more cards, but at the cost of, it needs a lot more, oh, that's why. It needs a lot more polish. Because this is basically all you need for grade 4 Drajeweled games. You just need more things because Drajeweled a bit more temperamental and a harder grade 4 to pull off than Lianorn. Because you actually got to survive to Ignis, which is something the deck doesn't really do well, because everything's low shield and everything needs grade 4 to go off. So if you're not finding that, or you're working on way too much of your higher end, it's going to be rough, buddy. I'm not going to lie. But it's still a really fun deck. Once again, I'll leave the deck code in the description for you just to look over what I showed you. But if you're just getting into Vanguard, these are phenomenal products. Like, this is highly playable, and if you don't like the deck, you can basically sell it. But just keep the Regalias, which probably will just pay for the deck set alone currently. Not as much in the Lianorn one, but you can just play this one with no edits whatsoever and win games. And it's an incredibly easy deck to pick up. This one will definitely lose you some games, but it is still absolutely playable and gives you everything you'll need for the deck. I know this one's a bit long because Lianorn took up a massive amount of time because there's 2 different variations. Ignis, there really isn't one. You just need to upgrade them. But thank you. If you made it this far past my mad ramblings trying to help out, thank you. Please let me know what you think. What are some of the tech options you're throwing into these decks? Please, I want to know. And thank you.